All right, we are live. Warden Avenue in Scarborough, 925 Warden Avenue in Scarborough, just north of Eglinton. 14,000 square feet of fun, pro standard playing equipment, great food. Book your party today, 416-757-2265. Talk to Jim or John, or go to thecornerbank.ca. We're live, the Tilley and Billy Show, episode 5.
Who are you, by the way?
I'm Joe the Swiss.
Hi, you scoundrels. My name's Billy the Greek.
Okay, first up on the agenda today, well, let's start with the Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs had a very good game against the Canucks, went into that game, came out of that game back in second place overall in the NHL with 27 wins. I thought it was a very impressive game. Michael Hutchinson, Hutch,
Yeah.
Sparsky and Hutch, you like that?
Yeah.
Sparksy and Hutch. Michael Hutchinson.
Let me ask you something. How long did it take you, honestly?
Sparksy and Hutch.
Eh?
Sparsky and Hutch probably won't be an item unless Anderson gets hurt again.
Yeah.
But anyway, if he does, that'll be the duo. But anyway, Hutch had a great game. 28 save shutout. Maple Leafs. I thought, you know what I was impressed by in that game? The Maple Leafs defense was impressive in that game. And I really think that defense is getting stronger and stronger.
Sometimes you got to ask yourself: Is it the strength of the Maple Leafs in the way they play the game, or is it Vancouver playing a 3rd and 4 nights and coming off a road trip?
You don't look for excuses,
Right?
Hey.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, if
Who
we
needs
don't,
excuses?
if we don't beat
you
the
still got to play the game.
if we don't beat the
Canucks,
Canucks,
if you don't show up to play, they're still going to beat you. It's an NHL hockey game.
If we don't beat the Canucks, we're in trouble that game, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree? There'd be hell to pay, right? If take a look at the standings.
If they had
Joe.
lost the game, yeah, but they
there'd
won
be-
the game 5-0, completely dominated the game. So I think
doubt
there's
about it, no
never,
doubt about
there's
it.
never an issue with that game. What I liked about that Leafs team is I think that even though Nylander was held off the score sheet, he was on the ice for 4 goals, I believe.
The guy that I noticed, irrespective of the goal he scored, was Trevor Moore.
Oh,
Very
Trevor
impressed with the not only with his skating ability, but the ability he plays, the ability he shows rather to play with tenacity, to play with a little bit of spunk. Right, and that's again we've been talking about this for a while now. That's an element the Leafs could use a slight upgrade.
Not a big body, but boy,
absolutely,
he plays hard.
yeah, he
that was
plays
a
hard.
Beautiful goal by the highlight reel goal.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely,
Tipping the
right?
puck around the defender, going back, going
That's
around
why.
to get it.
That's why, like
great.
you need guys like that to come relatively out of nowhere to contribute to a club
Right.
moving forward, right?
But you know, the unfortunate thing is when Zach Hyman returns, Trevor Moore is the one that's going to go back to the.
Well, you can make a case, right, at that point in time, depending how you position, depending on how Babcock positions,
I
right?
think probably Dubas wants it that way, contract-wise and everything else. It gives him another year of control. So I think you'll see Trevor Moore go back. But you want this guy to play every night. As what Babcock says, do you want him to be a 4th liner that doesn't get as much ice time as he can, or do you want to be him in Marlies being a 1st liner and getting lots of ice time?
Or
and
would you rather
developing?
watch Lindholm play the rest of the 40 games and into the playoffs, or would you rather have this this kid?
Let's see it. Let's see. Give him a little more time than Marlies. Listen, trust me. I think Kyle Dubas and Mike Babcock know what they're doing. If they decide to send this guy down, I think they believe that that's the best thing for the team. If they choose to keep him, it's not. Now, big game tonight.
Yeah.
Leafs and Predators. Predators are I'm potentially a Stanley Cup preview. It's potentially a Stanley Cup preview. And you know what? I would say that there's a really good chance that this would be a Stanley Cup preview. Predators, very solid team, probably the best team in the West. Between them and Calgary, I think, or maybe possibly Winnipeg.
Whoa, Joe. What? You know who's the best team? The best team in the West and the East, other than Tampa Bay, is here, and then there's 15 other clubs from 2 to 16. Actually, from 2 to 9 in the Eastern Conference is separated by 7 points. We're talking about stack-ups. We're talking about this. We're at 2-8, 10 game stretch away from missing the playoffs and having the city burned down.
Yeah.
So the parity in this league, like 2 to 16, is pick and choose. Right? Tampa Bay is here. Everybody else is a step below.
I mean, that's the way it looks right now. Tampa Bay's got, leading the league in wins. They've got 10 more points than anybody else. I mean, they are looking really good.
They're deep too.
They are a team to beat, no question about it. But come playoff time, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's a real strong Leafs team we're looking at.
Yeah, right. And Tampa Bay too. When their goalie, when Vasilevsky went down, he will go down for 6 weeks. They didn't miss a beat, right?
Yeah, 14-4 when he was gone.
Yeah, when he was gone. So that shows you not only system, that shows you depth, that shows you something again that the jury's still out on whether or not the Leafs possess the ability to beat that club. The one thing that we don't have, the Tampa Bay does have, is that monster in the back head. That's the only from where you can make a case that the Leafs, talent for talent, have a better roster than Tampa Bay. It's arguable, right? But you cannot tell me there's a monster in the back that we have that can shut guys down, move the puck like Hedman. That's what separates, in my opinion, the Leafs from Tampa Bay.
Well,
nothing else, right?
I mean, head to head though, would you take Hedman over Morgan Riley?
You know what? That's an interesting question. Would I? That's a tough one. Huh? Maybe we'll have the answer next week. That's a really good one.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I'd take Morgan Riley.
In a 7-game series? Or?
No, permanently. I like the upside of Morgan Riley. He's a little bit younger than Hedman, and he's maybe he isn't. He's about the same age. Yeah. Maybe a little bit younger. But anyway, I like the upside of Morgan Riley. I like the way he's developed.
Yeah,
he's got better, and Hedman has some injury issues. So if you match those teams up, and I like, people say that the Leafs don't really have, aside from Riley, the number one defenseman. I think they got a whole bunch of like second tier defensemen. Like number two defenseman. Second line defense.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
They got a lot of guys who qualify for anybody's second line.
Yeah,
defense,
to kill 20 minutes
defense.
to soak up 20 minutes on a good team and not make a.
I think what I'm saying is they've got a lot. I think they're balanced on the back end, and I think they're better than a lot of people give them credit for.
They're better, but also you'd be the first to admit, right? The physical component sometimes is necessary in the back end, especially come playoff time, right?
It helps.
It helps, right?
Listen, and guess who leads the Leafs in hits?
I don't know.
Travis Dermott.
No kidding.
63 hits. A lot of people didn't know.
No kidding.
That,
sure.
Yeah. Travis Dermott. He's obviously banging bodies back there. Yeah. Travis Dermott is a sleeper. He's kind of a surpriser. The Leafs have guys who can hit, and they have guys who can play solid D.
Sometimes
I'm not concerned about this.
Sometimes, Joe, it's not even about hitting, really. It's about the notion that you will be hit. Sometimes you can go like a tough guy does it. Like you go in here and you see a tough guy. Tough guys don't fight, man. Really, right? Tough guys sit back and you give them a little space. So it's not about really hitting a guy. It's about the other guy knowing, you know what, if I go in this corner, I might get hit. Respect, right? And that's a difference. Nobody on the Leafs. There's an argument to be said if we can get away with that with our forwards. That's a whole different argument. But my contention is, again, there's no way you can get away with that on your defense if there's no respect on the back end. That's why again, we get trapped down low. People cycle on us continuously. We've said this ad nauseum, right? And until we have some kind of... And I don't believe that the answer is internal, unless you like Borgman. I'm a Borgman fan. Like he throws around the body, but obviously Babcock sees something in him in his defensive game that he doesn't trust, right? That's why he's not playing with us. But he bangs bodies. He's a kid that
Callie Rosen looks really good on the farm. Callie Rosen's having a really good year with the Marlies. Unfortunately, Timothy Liljegren's been out with the high ankle sprain since the beginning of December, but Kelly Rosen has been good. He's a guy you might watch for down the road. He's a quality player.
Yeah, and Babcock's kind of tied to for better or worse, man. We're riding Hainsey till the bitter end, right? He's expiring, right?
What? I'm not a Hainsey hater. I'm not a Hainsey hater. I think Hainsey does the job a lot of nights. He makes the mistake.
But boy, he stands out when he doesn't. He really stands out when he doesn't.
I think when you take a look at the whole body of work, I think Hainsey is a competent defender. By the way, Casimir Kaskisuo has been recalled, so it looks like Freddie Anderson.
Pronounce his name again one more time. Why don't you say that?
Casimir Kaskisuo.
We've got to figure out a nickname. I can't pronounce that name, eh?
No, I've been doing Russian tennis names for 50 years. I know what's going on. Anyway, he will stay with the. He's been called back up, so it looks like Freddie won't be playing tonight. It looks like they'll be back with Hutch again because Sparks is still under concussion protocol, so it looks like it'll be Kaskisuo backing up Hutch against the Predators. Be a good game. Yeah, absolutely. Nashville, as you mentioned earlier, is a legitimate Cup contender, and we're gonna have to come out, as Babcock says, ready to play at 7:30. Otherwise, it could be down 2 and chasing the game for the next 55. Right? You don't want to be chasing the game against. No. It's a tough team to score against. You don't want to be chasing. Yeah. Right. Okay, so next up we're going to talk about the Raptors. All right, the Raptors. My God, coming off 2 impressive victories. First, they knock off the Bucks without Kyle Lowry in the lineup, and coming off, I understand the Bucks were coming off a back-to-back, but they still walked into Milwaukee and they handled the Bucks, and it was an impressive, very impressive win. Well, I thought that was their biggest win of the season so far. Then they turn around the next day on back-to-back nights, and they beat a team, Indiana, who had won 6 in a row. Was at that point tied with the Raptors in terms of, by about a game behind the Raptors in terms of wins, losses, and overall record. But I thought that was another impressive win, and that one came without Kawhi Leonard. Yeah. So this team has been really, injuries have been a factor for this team all year long. But yet here we are, halfway into the season, and this team is first overall, despite missing Jonas Valanciunas for all that time, despite giving Kawhi Leonard the night off and back-to-backs, despite Kyle Lowry missing 6-7 games, whatever it was. It's impressive. It really is.
It's I went to bed Friday night and woke up Saturday with Indy in second place in the division. Where'd these guys come from? The Pacers. It's just out of nowhere, right? You look up in the standings, 29-12. Go, wait a minute. Indiana Pacers. Like I see, they got a nice little couple of Debo Sabonis and what have you, but 29-12, right?
Right. So, well, before the 6-game winning streak.
Yeah, they lost last in the Raptors.
They were 20-12, so they were kind of third, fourth, respectable. But when they got on that roll,
which game impresses you more?
Right at the top.
Which game impresses you more, the win in Milwaukee or the win coming back home?
The win in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
The Greek Freak. The other Greek Freak.
The other Greek Freak.
The other Greek Freak's a tough guy. I mean,
what are you trying to? Whoa! Stop the camera. Hey, this is my.
No, both Greek Freaks are tough guys. Yeah.
You know what? It's interesting.
He's the original Greek Freak, by the way.
Yeah. I could, there's a few that can attest to that, anyways. But that's we'll leave that for another time. Milwaukee was the game that we won in Milwaukee was won exclusively by 4 starters scoring 20+ points. Bench didn't show up at all in the Milwaukee game. Heavy minutes for the whole starting unit. They won the game. What it tells me coming back on a back-to-back, the bench came back. Norm Powell, DeLon Wright, everybody contributed. What that tells me is the bench realized the night before in Milwaukee they didn't contribute, and they came back. They came back the next day. When you know your starters, you got to rest them a little bit. You can't go. They can't play back-to-back 40-minute games back-to-back, right?
Right.
So, what that shows me is that it's a team that's unified. It's a collection. Is a collection of men that pick each other up, that realize at some points in time that the onus is going to be on them to carry the day. Can't wait for Lowry. You can't wait for Leonard to win every game. You need to get contributions to be a championship club, 8, 9, 10 deep. And the Raptors show with the injuries, with everything, can set the best record in basketball. And that they got opponent fired to be a championship club, and it's demonstrated not only slap, but in coming home and beating a red hot team, and you know what, rather handily too, right?
Well, and I harken back to the work that Nick Nurse has done with this team to have this team prepared. Okay, Kawhi Leonard's out of lineup. We got to step it up a bit, boys, and we do it. Yeah. Pascal Siakam, another career high, 30 points.
See, the reason
Norm Powell had probably his best game.
You know what,
in a long time. Probably 2 years.
Yeah, Norm sat with the injury for 2 months. So when you sit for that long, I'm imagining now, you got a lot of time to sit and think not only about your role, your position, your future in the NBA, your future on this club. So you sit back and you watch and you get a chance to look in the mirror who you are as a basketball player, because Powell, for all his talents, was relatively obscure in terms of the rotation. So he comes back and he comes back hungry. He comes back ready, and it's going to be tough to take minutes from him. Like CJ Miles hasn't gotten off the bench since Powell came back. Probably won't get off the bench, right? And again, the other point with Kawhi is we're very strong on the wings.
Right.
We got frankly that's where the majority of the Raptors' depth lies, especially considering Powell as an addition to the depth on the wings. You got Siakam, you got Anunoby, you got Powell, right? That's why we can afford, and we've had a decent record without Kawhi in the lineup, right? That's not where we're weak. The problem with the injuries is moving forward is JV. We're going to come across clubs that are strong in the five hole. Right?
Yeah. But JVs will be back soon. I mean, that's only a temporary problem at all.
Yeah, and again, as we mentioned before, the future also rests on the back of Kawhi, on the back of Kyle Lowry.
And it's not like Serge Ibaka.
No, absolutely, right? So the
unbelievable season.
Yeah,
They really
balance.
Do. Yeah,
balance.
They're
balanced,
and they've been able to overcome those injuries because of that balance, and because that's a great job by Masai Ujiri, great job by Nick Nurse, great
jobs all around. See you come playoff time. Don't get swept though.
Okay, this segment is brought to you by the Taxperts Group. If you need help with personal and corporate tax filings, if you're being reviewed through the Canada Revenue Agency Audit and Appeal Divisions, Taxperts Group is the best firm in Toronto. 2 lawyers, 3 CPAs. Call the Taxperts at 416-493-0444 or go to the website at taxpertsgroup.ca. Okay, What a weekend in the NFL! Surprising, interesting.
You know what?
Who impressed you coming
I'll
out of the
tell you
weekend?
who impressed.
Anybody?
If anybody, man.
Right.
I've done nothing in the last 12 hours, maybe no, 20 hours other than watch football. Cigarettes on the couch and just raiding the fridge, man. That's been my life. As sad as that may seem, I'm sure I'm not the only one. Here's what I'm thinking. The first thing that comes to my mind is the Baltimore organization is a disgrace. The management is a disgrace. Harbaugh is a coward, and Lamar Jackson's going to be out of football within 3 years. That's it.
What? I thought the kid accounted himself well in the fourth quarter.
I don't know. In the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter, when the game's over. When let me tell you something, Joe.
I don't think he's going. Listen, I understand that he probably should have brought in Flacco at halftime.
Here's the deal. You know why they didn't. You know what? This is why the Baltimore organization is a disgrace. Not only the way you treat a Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl MVP, the face of your franchise, the greatest quarterback that ever played. He gets injured, you Wally Pip him, and you say, you know what? See you later. We're going to let this kid play. Fine. You made that decision, no problem. But you know where the stupidity lies? Prior to the game, it was leaked that Flacco was going to be traded or released in the offseason. We all know that. You know that. I know that. It's shown. They're putting Lamar to play, right? But why would you leak it? When you leak it, you handcuff Harbaugh, because if you pull this kid, and you've already leaked you're getting rid of this kid, you're losing one guy out the door, and you might jeopardize the confidence of another kid. That kid should not have been in that spot when come the third quarter, when they're not moving the ball. If you want to win the game, you to the rest of the players to put Flacco in that game. And anything. He had
17 passing yards, I think, in the
through
first
three
half.
quarters. You know what?
Six passing yards.
And again,
ridiculous.
If you want to look at the last 9 minutes of the game, frankly, that last 9 minutes of the game save Harbaugh's hide. But again,
really, I really thought, you know what, it was good for Jackson, because I think it gave him a little bit of confidence. It was a great, like, the kid almost came back and won that game.
Yeah, you know what the kid,
and he did it. Like, the kid makes things happen with his feet. I like him. I like Lamar Jackson. He's not the prototypical NFL quarterback.
You know who he is? You want to know who he is? I'll tell you exactly who he is. Believe me, he's a poor man's version of RG3. Right. Number one, a quarterback.
RG3. When he was healthy.
There you go.
When he was healthy,
Joe, you
was one of the best.
You play NFL football. Everybody wants to reinvent the way the game's played. Everybody wants to change RPOs. They want to change the face of the game. They want running quarterbacks. They want this and that. It's a quarterback-driven league, and always start from the pocket. Always start throwing the ball, no matter if it's today or 20 years or 50 years from now.
Yeah.
Here's the deal: when you're leading rusher, and this guy runs 20 times a game, right?
Right.
Not only do I question his pocket presence and his football intellect. Coming out from the draft, there was the same questions. Raw talent, he's unbelievable. But the point of the matter,
what he does is he's done it all. He went through college doing it, and he doesn't. In the first year with the Ravens, what he does is he's able to adjust, respond, use the legs when he needs to use them. He can throw a pass.
No.
He's not the best passer in the NFL.
You know I love you.
He can throw a pass.
Hold on. You know I love you. You know how much.
But what he does is he keeps teams off balance, because they have.
No, he does not keep. Joe, he does not keep teams off balance. He tells teams what he's going to do. You know who keeps teams off balance? Russell Wilson. He scrambles around. Guys that scramble around. Some guys scramble to throw. Other guys scramble to run. This kid scrambles. The minute he scrambles and puts his head down, he's not looking downfield to throw the ball. He's looking to
do it a couple times.
Yeah, he's looking to do it with his own legs. And the point of the matter is, if you play that kind of game consistently in the NFL, you're either going to tear your ACL, you're going to break your ankle.
Well, that's what happened to RG3.
Exactly. And what do you think is going to happen to this?
Doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen. It's going to happen to Jackson.
I'll tell you this.
I don't know.
What's the date today?
I don't have that crystal ball.
What's the date? I do, though. What's the date today? What are we?
January 7th.
January 7th. If I don't know how I can put myself out there. If you have any ideas, let me know. 3 years from now, on January 7th, this guy's got a better chance to play with the Calgary Stampeders than Baltimore. Baltimore's going to go 6-10 for the next 5 years. They're never going to see a playoffs, and it's going to start because they invested their future, their money, instead of a guy that won them Super Bowls, instead of Flacco. They want to put their money on a guy that's, you know what, that is at best a substandard quarterback that will be exposed in days to come.
Well, we'll see. He's still just a kid. There's lots of opportunity for growth. Anyway, what else you seen from
I don't know.
the weekend?
Again, looking at the other fascinating thing was the.
By the way, your picks, you had 2 right, 1 wrong. You got you got beat bad by the first game. What was the first game?
Colts. You know what? Greeks got to say when he's wrong.
Yeah.
He promptly admits it. I remember a time back in the summer of '97. I had a situation I can't go into details on air that I probably was wrong, and also had a couple incidents I think in 2011 where I was wrong. So every now and then it happens to me too, right?
Yeah.
Here's what was wrong, not in the prediction. The prediction was not wrong. The perception was wrong.
Yeah.
I look at the Indianapolis Colts, and always have looked at them from Arch Leister to Jeff George to Jim Harbaugh to who else has come through there? You name it, to the Peyton Manning years. Even when Indianapolis was a viable threat, they had one thing in common continuously: they were always soft. They were always soft. They were always a finesse team. And the Greek looked at them without paying attention.
And they won a Super Bowl, by the way.
Yeah, but they won a Super Bowl. They won it on the back of Peyton Manning. But no matter what, they had Freeney and Mathis, so they had some edge rushers, but they were always soft. This Indianapolis Colts team, much to my surprise, is not soft, Joe. They're not soft.
At all.
That might be the best offensive line in football.
Yeah.
They kept Watt and Clowney, who I'm very surprised, out of the backfield the entire game, and they rushed the ball. Houston hadn't given up a 100-yard rusher all year. And Indy ran it down their throats. They beat them. They slapped them. That was no contest. And you know what, frankly,
they really went run heavy in that game. I was surprised. I thought we'd see a lot.
So you know what? Again, man, I wish I was perfect, man. But you know, I won't make that mistake again. Believe me, if I give you another pick, I'll never blow you out again. That was my mistake.
You did all right though. 2 wins, 1 loss. That 1 loss, and then
the other point before we talk about
with the Cowboys.
Push with the Cowboys, man, quickly, because we're running out of time on this segment. There's no push with the Cowboys. It might say a push, but that was a lot closer to being a 20-point game than a 2-point game. That push was just a matter of bad luck. That push was a whole slew of circumstances. Cowboys, like I told you, dominated the game from beginning to end, other than Russell Wilson making a couple miracle throws, and you can do that, right? That was a complete domination. Dallas left about 17. Phillip Rivers, attaboy. The Bears allegedly wanted to throw the kicker off the bus on the highway, right? Yeah. But you know what, Chicago fans, it's not your kicker's fault. If the Bears are who we thought they were, if the Bears are the preeminent defense in football, right? And they're first in all rankings across the board. That's where their bread is buttered, on the defensive side of the ball. Would you agree?
Often, whenever they have had success, that's been the case.
All right. So you know what great defense is, Joe? I'll tell you what great defense is. When Philly's got the ball and you're up 15-10, right, with 5 minutes left. If you're a great defense, my friend, and you're the best defense in the league, Khalil Mack, if you're the best in the game, like you're being paid, you know what? Philadelphia does not drive down there and score that touchdown, man. You stop them if you're the best defense. And then you know what? The kicker's got nothing to do with it. That defense that's much heralded, you stand up there. You stand up. They had plenty of chances, third downs. They had chances to stop that club, and they couldn't do it. So you know what? The only saving grace from the Bears' perspective is Trubisky. That's somebody to hold on to in the future. But that loss is exclusively on the Bears' defense.
Yeah, and you know what? And Parkey took a lot of unnecessary.
Again,
that was unbelievable. I mean, if you're watching this podcast and you tweet stuff to people, all right, that is chicken crap. Okay, I mean, you telling somebody like, this guy's getting death threats, okay?
Yeah. And here's the deal.
Like Comtois, the captain of the Canadian junior team, all right? People telling me he should commit suicide. This is a kid, right?
Yeah.
All right? This is ignorant.
Yeah.
And you know, people get really tough when they're sitting behind their tweet.
Absolutely.
Behind their computer at home and they're tweeting stuff out.
Absolutely.
That is crap, all right? You can't be telling people that, you know.
No, absolutely.
Wishing bad stuff about, I mean, like, unless you're willing to go to their face and back it up, all right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, and here's the deal, man. The kid didn't shank it 20 yards left, man. 1 foot the other way is a hero, right? Exactly. 1 foot the other way.
Plus, there was a finger on it.
Yeah, right.
One of the defenders got a finger on that ball.
Again,
Defected.
if you play team sports, I remember a time where they were interviewing
Scott Norwood.
Funny you mentioned that. I was remembering a time where they were interviewing Thurman Thomas.
Right.
and they said, Thurman, you know, because they're flying home to Buffalo.
Yeah.
What did you think about Norwood? And you said we all wanted to throw him off the plane,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
but
yeah.
but you know what they did?
But you get over it.
Yeah, but they
You
rallied
realize
a-
that everybody plays a part. It's a team
absolutely.
game. Everybody plays a part to win.
Yeah.
Everybody takes a piece of that shot in the loss. You
Yeah.
can't just pin it all on
No,
the kicker.
no,
It's not
absolutely.
like you played this game 60 minutes, 59 minutes and 35 seconds just to hand the ball over to the kicker. You
No.
didn't do that. You played the game to win the game.
And
You
I-
do what you can to win the game.
And
And,
I hope
everybody's got a responsibility.
Yeah, and I hope the Bears management has the courage, much like Buffalo did when Norwood missed that kick. They kept
Yeah.
him around.
Yeah.
They kept him around for a year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a big spot.
Would be a classy thing.
It would be a classy thing to do, you know. And whoever this kid is, man, I don't know. You probably never see this. Keep your head up, man. It'd be all right.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, this statement is brought to you by Wealth Realized Financial Services. Visit Mike Hopkins at wealthrealized.ca. Okay, well, let's talk about our picks for the upcoming week. The matchups are, we got the Cowboys and Rams, Eagles Saints, Chargers Pats, Colts Chiefs. Any one of those stick out?
I don't
for
know.
you?
So before it was before I got wind of what the lines were coming out today, the opening lines, I kind of created my own in my head, right? And I had actually right on the money. I got to say on the 5.5 on Kansas City. That's what I would have had it, and I don't know yet. I had the Cowboy game at 4.5, and then it turns out it opened at 7. I had the Saints at 7.5, opened up at 9, and I had the Chargers where they are at 4-point dogs. So interesting.
So right now you're leaning towards the an upset. Well, somebody the Cowboys to cover. Cowboys to cover. You're looking at the Eagles. To cover.
You know what? You would think that, but it's Monday, right? A lot can change in my mind within the next 30 seconds, let alone 6 days, right? But shout out to my buddy Tony, big Rams fan. Actually, the biggest Rams fan. I'm glad I finally got a chat. We've been going back and forth all year. What if we play you? What if we play you? So my friend, Saturday night at 8:30, it's just going to be the two of us, man. Nobody else is going to exist. So we got
Rams
this
and
little,
Cowboys,
we
yeah.
got this little thing going on, me and him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I do like the Cowboys.
Yeah,
I do like the
next Monday, if the Cowboys don't win, I got to show up in a LA Rams jersey on set. So,
Yeah.
you know, but this guy in a few different parts of town's got to show up with a Cowboys jersey. So that's something on the side. But when I look at the game, like the Rams, without a doubt, got a talented squad. When I see that team on paper, especially the thing that interests me the most is why this defense gives up 30 points a game. They got Donald, who's arguably the best interior lineman in the league. They got Sue, they got Peters on the corner, they got Tilley, they got Fowler Jr., they got all these names, but they can't stop the run, surprisingly, right? And they give up 30 points a game. I can't understand the way the Rams talent on defense does not equate to on-field success. And if they don't stop the run, if they don't stop Zeke, and Zeke gets going, and we put that team behind the hole where Gurley can't run the ball, right? Then the Jeff Goff, like many other people, if he's off his spot, like as demonstrated in the Eagle game, as demonstrated when you pressure that guy, he's a kid, he gets nervous. When he sits back like Luck, you watch the football game with the Texans. Luck didn't even have to take a shower after the game. He didn't even have to wash his uniform. He just could have went right to the bus, not even deodorant. That guy didn't get touched the whole game.
Yeah.
You play quarterback like that, and you're afforded the ability to sit in the pocket. I don't care who you are, right? You're gonna have success. So the question is at this point in time, can that offensive line of the Rams hold the Dallas pass rush, and can Gurley run the ball? Because if it gets to be a game where Goff's got to throw 40-45 times, man, I'd be hard pressed to see how the Rams can beat the Cowboys.
Just an observation about the Rams. I thought this team, after 8, 9, 10 weeks of the season, I thought this team was just about indestructible. But over the last few games, they haven't looked that way. And I think that when you see a team that's trending in a direction and the trending is down, I don't think that's a good sign come playoff time.
No, it's not. It's not a good sign. Yeah, it's not, Joe. But it's a funny thing because what logically happens within those 2 weeks that the 1 and 2 seeds get a bye themselves and become that team that they were at the beginning of the year. You don't know. That's a possibility. both the Saints and the Rams can come out.
Oh, Saints, I love it.
Saints can come out, and the Rams, and blow the doors off either of those teams. They can give circa week 3, week 5, week 6, and come out and lay a beating, right? You don't know. You'd like to believe that there is something to be said for momentum, right? And I believe there is, but what good is the momentum when you go into the Superdome and you see the real Saints club that you saw annihilate the Eagles 48-7, right? That can easily happen again. Now, I wouldn't suggest 48-7 would be a reasonable prediction. I'm not going to go out and say that, but I smell a 38-17. I think the Eagles fairy tale season's done. I think it ends in New Orleans. The only question is, if you're a gambler, is would Philadelphia find a way for a backdoor cover, right? But I'm 85 to 90% sure Saints win that game, right? As far as the Cowboy game, flip a quarter. I'm not sure. Take it to the AFC side a little bit, right? You tell me, man. You tell me. You believe. You tell me. I know you're big on Mahomes.
I love Mahomes, but the fact that he look what the rookie quarterbacks did this last week.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So what do you see?
It's like, well, I think that I'd love to see the Chargers beat the Patriots.
No, you don't have to love it because that will happen.
I'd probably like to see. I'd like to see a good game between the Colts and the Chiefs. I'd like to see the Chiefs win it by a point or two, just because they've had such a good season. They deserve, to win that game. But I don't know what the line is on that one. Would you say it was
5.5?
5.5 for KC.
5.5 for KC.
Yeah, I would take the dog on that one. I'd take the Colts.
It's an interesting matchup there because Indianapolis plays a version of the Tampa 2 defense. They always they sit back in zones, and you got to go 10, 12, 15 play drives. If you watch Houston, they got nothing over the top on that defense. So does Mahomes have the patience to dink and dive, Can the Houston...
Does he have the experience?
No, he's got
pressure
the patience. He needs patience. He's the kind of kid that gets...
But what I mean is that experience leads to the patience.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. So that's the question. And then on the other side of the ball, can the Houston front four get to luck? Nobody's got as close to me and the cameraman. My friend Brian here. Nobody's got as close to Andrew Luck. Nobody can touch this guy. They got the best offensive line in football by the looks of it. So if you can't rush this guy, right, you're gonna have a hard time beating. You're gonna have a hard time beating that team, right?
Yeah.
So again, we'll have our predictions. I'll have my official predictions later on in the week. You can follow me on Twitter at the Original Greek Freak, and we'll have something out officially by Friday. And we're also going to do, what do you want to do? You want to do a little Clemson, Alabama? Eh?
Well, what do you think?
I think Nick Saban's a jerk. Every time I see that guy, he's the most arrogant guy that I've ever seen in my life. You know the way he does
a lot of people want to see Nick Saban lose.
He comes with his thing in the half, and he's up by 49 points, and he's throwing things and this and that. I say, you know what, dude? You know what I remember about you, Saban, when you went to the Dolphins for that 1 year, man, and you sold out, you quit on the team. I've never been a fan of yours, and you know what? I can't say I'm a football expert, especially of the college variety. Hell, I can't say I'm a football expert at anything, man. I barely know how to put together a peanut butter sandwich, but I'll tell you this, man. Nick Saban, I hope, man, I'll be as an outsider, man. I'll be cheering for Clemson. Take the 6.5 points and let's stick it to this guy, man. Right?
All right, there you go.
How's that sound?
All right, just one last thing before we go. I wanted to shout out to Bianca Andreescu, the 18-year-old from Mississauga, making it all the way to the final at the tennis tournament in Auckland, New Zealand. And this kid, unbelievable. She knocked off Caroline Wozniacki.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She knocked off Venus. She knocked off that girl from Chinese Taipei, ranked way ahead of her, and almost beat Julia Georges in the final.
Yeah.
But, a heck of a run
absolutely out of nowhere.
Went into this event ranked 152nd in the world, but you're going to hear a lot from Bianca Andreescu. By the way, if you want to win tickets to see Bianca Andreescu play at the Rogers Cup this summer, along with all the rest of the best players in the world, because they always have a spectacular turnout, visit Aldo at Ringmax Crossroads. Call 416-GET-ALDO, and you can get a chance to win tickets to see the Rogers Cup this summer.
Before we get going, Joe, I got a couple special shout-outs. First, and well, not necessarily first. I don't know who's more important here. We're going to figure it out. I want to say a special shout-out to Albatross HC Athens. They play Friday nights, 6 p.m. They've been playing for the last 15 years. Boys, keep your sticks on the ice. And then also a A very special shout out to Sister Mary Ellen of the Felician Sisters. Joe, it was funny enough to have a conversation with her, and there's a fan. You got a fan for 30 years. Sister thinks you're kind of cute. So,
well, hi, sister.
Shout out to you. God bless and
keep watching.
Yeah.
And we also want to give a shout out to our cameraman.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. Yeah.
He's the best in the West, baby.
Yeah.
And the East too. All right, that does it for this week's show. We'll see you back here next week. It's Monday at 11 here at the Corner Bank Sports Bar and Grill. Come on by and say hello anytime you want. Drop us a line, and we'll be seen on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram as well. So
play safe.
All right. Is it?
We got to dress it up.
What are we doing,
Get Leaf jersey, Raptors jerseys in the background.
Oh, Lex in the top right hand corner.
Should be watching this.
Don't watch this. This don't.
No.
And then it says end.